Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games, here today to take a look at Blokus 3D by Mattel. Now, over the time I've been doing my channel, I've looked at a number of different Blokus games. I've looked at Blokus, I've looked at Blokus Duo, Blokus Trigon, and I've always known about Blokus 3D, and I somehow thought I had done it, but because I'd had my hands on a copy at one point, but I'd bought it for somebody else, but I guess I'd passed it off before I made it. I'd always thought I'll get back to that someday, and never did. And so recently, and I say recently, I mean in the last few months, I found this copy of the Blokus 3D at a local thrift store, so I was happy to get my hands on a copy again, and yeah, so now I'm getting back to doing the copy. Now, if you are looking for a copy of Blokus 3D, it is going to be hard to find. I don't know if it's in print anymore. Anywhere I've looked, I'm not able to find it. There are resources to look, like you can look on Board Game Geek, for example, to find a copy. You might also look for a game called Rumus, and I'll put that in the just below the screen below right now. Rumus was another game, I believe it was a company called Educational Insights, had bought the rights to Blokus, or one way or the other. Anyway, Rumus is essentially Blokus 3D. Very similar game, so that's another one you can look for as well if you're looking for this game. Now, some people say Blokus, I say Blokus. That's because in English, where you have a vowel, consonant, vowel, it would separate blow, cuss. When the vowel comes at the end, it's a long vowel. Now, having said that, English is famous for being a language which has a lot of rules and then always breaking its own rules. So I understand the reasoning behind it, that they are blocks, and so Blokus makes sense in that way, but according to the way it's read, I'm going with Blokus. Let me take you to the report card for Blokus 3D. So looking at the number of players for Blokus, I'm going to give it a B. It plays between 2 to 4 players, and that is my standard for the B, so it gets the B. For learning for Blokus, I'm going to give it an A. Now, a little bit of a caveat here, that when you're looking at Blokus, it's not something, if you're using it in the classroom, that's going to be teaching you something that you're going to be like curricular knowledge. There's no way that I would use this in the class to say, okay, we're going to understand three-dimensional shapes better by playing Blokus 3D. But what it does is, and this is why people look for this game, and still look for this game in Rumus or whichever, because it is so unique in what it does, and the way that it's like a 3D Tetris of pieces fitting together. You expanding your mind and using it to understand the shapes and how they fit together to try to achieve your objectives of the game, which I'll show you in a little bit. But it's unlike any other game. And the way it sort of gets your mind thinking that way, it's a real brain burner because of the way that the pieces, you're trying to visualize as the pieces go in and what's going to be showing and such. So it's just, overall, like I say, it gets the A simply because it is unlike any other game I know that's out there. There's no other game which does what this does. So in that way, it is exceptional. Now, if you are seeing ways to use this game, and if you are using this game in ways in your classroom that do teach curricular knowledge, then please, as I always tell my students, prove me wrong. I don't pretend that I know everything. I speak about things and I say what I believe to be true, but I always question what I say because I'm human, I make mistakes. But like I say, if you know ways to do this, I would love to know, because I would love to see this game being used more in the classroom. I'd love to be able to take this in and see what we can do with it. But for now, like I'm saying, it would be one that is good for challenging yourself and expanding your mind to think in different ways, but not really great for that curricular knowledge. So, but still, as I say, because it's unique, I give it the A. For fun, I'm going to give the game a B. I give it the B because it's a fun game, and it's, with its uniqueness, some people are really going to love this, and some people are really not going to love this. I'm being generous. I think it's a B. I think that it's got a lot of fun elements in there. Like I say, I like games which challenge the mind, which get you thinking in different ways, and this game definitely does that. And so, for me, that's a B. For time, I'm going to give the game a B+. The game plays between 20 to 30 minutes, so it's a very quick game, easy to set up. You're just giving people their own colors of shapes, pentominoes, and you just go ahead and start building, and according to the things. And the cleanup is just put things back into the spaces provided inside the box. So overall, it's easy to set up, easy to clean up, and it's fairly quick to play. So yeah, B+ for me. And for cost for Blokus 3D, I'm going to give it that question mark. I give it the question mark because, like I said, you can't find this in stores anymore right now. Like if you do find it in a store, I would say grab it right away for sure. Especially if you're looking and you find it in a thrift store or something. Now you may be saying, well, what if it's in a thrift store and I can't, and I find it and there's pieces missing? I mean, that's going to be a deal breaker, right? Because the pieces are very specific. Well, when I bought this one, there was 2 pieces missing from the game. But what I did is there was a green piece and let's say a blue piece. I can't remember the colors off the top of my head now. But I took the matching pieces from a different color and I gave it to a friend of mine who has a 3D printer, and he just printed them off for me in the necessary shapes. He did the measurements and things, and boom, I have my pieces. And he did it for me relatively cheaply. Not relatively, he did it super cheap for me, so I was very grateful for that. And so I now have a complete set, because with 3D printers, it's now something we can easily do to create these. But do not 3D print the whole game. That's piracy, and that's not okay. But like I was saying, if you find a copy, buy it, but buy it with confidence that if it is missing pieces, you can always print them. All right, let me take you to the table, and I will show you how this game is played. So here is the copy. So here's the inside of the Blokus 3D. So one thing you're going to have is you're going to have these shapes here, and these are going to indicate the parameters in which you are building. So you have this looks familiar for anybody who's played the regular Blokus, that you have this thing here, and this is just to allow it to spin. So this can now spin around, so you can players can look at it from different angles without turning the whole board. So it's like a lazy Susan. And you're going to then put this on the inside, like so. Okay. Now, one thing that's see if I can get it here, just the right angle. You can kind of see it there. It's indicated here. So the limitations as to how you build it for a 2-player, 3-player, or a 4-player game. The height is going to change depending on the number of players, and that is also indicated here on the thing. So with this particular thing, so this one here, it's built like a pyramid, so you can only build it 4 high, okay? But you're also, in the 2-player game, you're going to be limited to 4 wide, so you're only allowed to use half of the structure. So depending on which one you're using, so maybe for this one, what I'll do is I will put in the smaller one. Okay. So with this one, it's a fairly straightforward. You are building a rectangular prism. And so the rectangular prism in a 2-player game could only be 4 high, in a 3-player game could be 6 squares high, and in a 4-player game could be 8 squares high. Okay, but then it also has to be contained within this space. It can't be hanging out over this space at any point. So these are the player things here. So as I indicated, you can see this one here is a slightly different green color, but it's still green, you get it. And that is the one that I had 3D printed. So I'd given my friend, like, say one of these ones. I said, okay, this is the shape I have. I guess it's not the same shape. That's the inverse. But I gave him the exact one that, there we go. So I gave him maybe the red one, and I said, okay, this is the one I need printed. And so he measured it up, and he gave me an exact duplicate of this one, but in green. So now I've got it back again. And I can't remember what the other color was. Maybe it was red. But not that it's important. See, I'm having trouble finding it now, even though I'm looking for it. So goes to show you, it doesn't make a difference really at all, does it? Could have been yellow. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Not important. Okay, so what's going to happen when you're playing this game is that you're putting your pieces down. You have access to all your pieces. So maybe the green player puts a piece down like so. So they put it in again. They have to, like that. They can't have it so that it's sticking out over the edge there. That's an illegal move. So like so. Now let's say the blue player goes, and they're putting down one. They have to have it so that their piece is touching one of the previous laid pieces in some way. So there, you know, for example, they couldn't have it here because that's not touching the green piece. So maybe they'll go here, or you know, maybe they'll get there. Now the idea is by the end, so let's just say this is a 2-player game, that it's only going to be 4 high. So this one here is 3 high. And you want to have, when you look at it from a bird's eye view, so if you were to look at this, whoops, when this is all done, when you look at it like so, how many squares do you see in your color on the top level of the shape? So going here, this player would be limiting themselves because they only have 3 high. So they could maybe do this one, which is 4 high, and they can just plop that one in there. So now they're going to have a guaranteed 1 in the middle. Okay, and then let's just, as I say, make this a 2-player game. And so then green sees what they're doing, and so it goes like so as well. So now they have 2 that are in there that will be on the top level, and then, you know, this is going to go back and forth. So blue's going to put one down here, and green's going to go into here, and so on. So I'm just putting them down almost randomly now without too much thought about it, and we'll see what ends up. So like I said, the challenge here is to be thinking about the shapes, what you have, how you're putting them down, where you're putting them down, and how you're going to be setting yourself up to have the most shapes showing on the top level when the top level comes into completion. And like so, and like so, and then they're going to go like so. Fill in that space there. So to my understanding, there's nothing saying that you can't leave this, like this space here in the middle, that you couldn't just leave that blank if you so choose. So you can cover over top of that if you wanted to. So the green player could, of course I'm going to knock everything over. So I'm trying to do this around the camera. And like so, like so. So this is 3 high. So now in this situation, I couldn't do this because the maximum height is 4, and this would put me to 5. This would be the 5th space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is an illegal move there. So I guess that goes down deeper than I thought. So we may do like that one in there, and the blue player. No, that's not going to work that way. Okay, I guess I'm not going to overthink this one. Blue player goes like so, and then the green player goes like so. I probably did the order wrong here, but then the green player can't do that. Oops. Like so. And the blue player will go like that. And at this point, the blue player has 1 piece left. I'm not sure, because I'm just doing it by myself back and forth quickly here, but just giving you the sense. So let me just reposition the camera without trying to lift this up. But looking now, so this is the final thing, and no more pieces can be placed because there's no more. The blue player only has like this one with 3 squares left, and there's no way to place that one without breaking the rules on the restrictions of the piece. But then you just count up the squares. So here you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for the green player, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I believe that would be 10, because when you're still looking down, that is still for the green player. So the green player would win in this case.
remember it's just like, so it shows here, like in a 3-player game, you're going up to 6 cubes high, and in a 4-player game, you go up to 8 cubes high, which just sort of changes everything then in terms of what pieces you're putting down, when you're putting them down, and just trying to, again, visualize and strategize as to when you're putting pieces down so that you can maximize your color domination on the top level. And that is how you play Blokus 3D.
So that's the review for Blokus 3D. As you see, this game is only like Blokus in so much as name alone. I mean, aside from that, it's a completely different game. But it's working with shapes, I mean, that's the only other similarity I can see there. But it's still a great game, and like I said, just the fact that you're now dealing in the third dimension with trying to build what you're doing and things, and just visualize what you're doing, it's incredible. It's a great game, and I really enjoy and appreciate what it's doing, and how it can, as I say, challenge your mind to just think in different ways and such. So this is the kind of game, like I said earlier in the review, that it would be something that I would be using not in the classroom setting for teaching curricular knowledge, because I just, into my way of thinking, I can't see how it would fit in a way that would be useful in that way. But certainly for some free time activity, an indoor recess activity, if you have a copy that you're willing to put into the classroom for those uses, absolutely. If you're you're doing homeschooling or playing at home, then this game is great for just building that understanding of three-dimensional knowledge and just challenging your brain to think in that way. So in looking at, when I look at board games from my own collection, I'm always thinking of how does a game fill a hole in my collection where I don't have a game with anything like this. And like I said, this game is very unique. There's no other game that's doing this kind of thing out there. So that's why I think this is a great game to have in anybody's collection. So if you can, like I said, if you can find this, I do highly recommend it. So if you're new to the channel, then what I'm doing is I'm putting out content on a weekly basis around topics of gamification, game-based learning. I'm reviewing games like Blokus 3D here, or Rurnus, to just talk about how they can be used in the classroom to help us with our pedagogy, to help us understand and to teach concepts which we are trying to learn or which we are trying to teach to others. I just find that myself personally, I find the games is just a wonderful way to learn, and I feel a lot of my learning, especially my math skills, was done through the play of games. And as a teacher now, with over 28 years experience with the Peel District School Board, I am always looking to use games as much as possible in my own classroom, just to help the students to gain better understandings of the concepts that we're doing, and just to see that there are fun ways to learn. And I've just had a lot of great success with that, and I want to share what I'm using and what I've learned with you, the viewer. So if you have any ideas for games you'd like to see on the channel, or any topics of discussion you might like me to cover, then please leave me a message in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from the viewers, as it helps me give you relevant content. And while you're down there, it would really help out the channel if you'd hit that little like button and subscribe, and even that little bell icon to indicate when new content is coming out, which is on a weekly basis. And that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Until next time, I'm Craig Thompson-Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school?